Sponsored by Women Technology. Take advantage of our end of summer promotion, offering a $30 off bundle discount on the whole test takeout panel controls through September 2021.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today is the 13th of August 2021 and this is our second look at the F-16I Sufa. Now remember, there are two versions of the Sufa. There is one by IDF and there is one by LAHAK. On our previous video, we looked at version 1 of IDF, which was out and released. Now, released today, is the LAHAK version. Version 1.0 is the early release, if you like. It will be upgraded in the future. At 1800 UTC today, this will be available for public download in the LAHAK Discord, which we will link in the video description. And with that, we're going to have a closer look at this LAHAK mod. We've been talking to these guys and understanding a bit more about the F-16I, the Israeli modified F-16 or the Sufa. So first of all, obviously to note, this is a two-seater. At the time of release of version 1, you only get to fly in the front seat. The rear seat is not available, but they are going to model a rear cockpit and that will come out later. Next, the engine. I didn't understand that the I had a different engine to the Charlie model Block 50. So this is the I with the I turkey feathers, and this is the Charlie Block 50 with the turkey feathers. What are the differences in the engines?
So the Israelis went with the Pratt & Whitney F-100 229, and the American version that you're looking at has the GE version 110 in it.
The Israeli one's more powerful, right?
It has different upgrades to it due to the weight added to the airplane. So it's kind of a later release of the 229 version than when the Americans were buying Block 52s early on.
The reason you know about these stuff, you want to tell them what your job is quickly. So most people don't know what your job is.
I work on F-16s for a living. I'm not going to claim to be the expert.
For about 20 years or something. Onto the cockpit. Probably easiest if I now jump into a 50 myself. I'm now in a Charlie Mark 50. First things to note are, Simba spotted this, grey outlines. So the panels are black, but the rest of the cockpit is all light grey. And also all of the writing and text is in English. Now if I go to the eye, the furniture is black. And we've also scattered about the cockpit, what we didn't see this before when we looked, we've got Hebrew. So Hebrew there, just spot them all over the place. Hebrew there, Hebrew there, Hebrew there. Up on the UFC, these are not Hebrew but they're different. Hebrew up here, Hebrew down here. Now, the reason why we have a more powerful engine in this aircraft is that it's heavier. The Israelis have added conformal fuel tanks and the spine. Now, is the spine a fuel tank or is it electronics or is it both, do you know, Simba?
The spine is just electronics.
It's electronics. So there's a lot of weight in there. There's nearly 2,000 pounds more weight in this empty. Just ignore all the weapons. Empty. In fact, why don't I just show you? The way the fuel works in the Sufa is that the conformal fuel tanks here are always on there, but they don't have to be full. If I want to fill the conformal fuel tanks up with fuel, I go to stations 4 or 6, I go to fuel, and I can fill the conformal fuel tank up like that with the extra 225 gallons. If I want to fill the conformal fuel tank and have a 370 gallon drop tank, then I do that there, and that will fill up the conformals and have a drop tank. We've also got the option as well here for a 600 gallon external. But I'm just going to leave that alone. With the conformals empty and only the normal F-16 tanks, I'm at £29,430. What are you, Simba?
27,212.
Right, so I'm 2,200 pounds heavier just with the weight of the shell of the conformal fuel tanks, the rear crew member, and the spine and the electronics equipment that's in the spine, which I guess is a fair amount of weight. If I fill the conformal fuel tanks, then it does actually add fuel to the mod and the aircraft gets heavier. And I should say as well that the extra thrust apparently is modelled as well.
Just for viewers to understand about the F-16, is a D model. The back seat sits where a fuel cell normally is. So if the people are going to try to do the math and go, oh, well, if I have this much gas and then plus these conformal tanks, you got to realize that a D model is missing a fuel cell in the center part of the jet.
Next, the looks. So obviously that is the F-16 you're used to, and most people love how it looks. Let me know your thoughts of the F-16I, whether you think it's handsome or not. I'm starting to come around to it, and this is a pretty, good-looking mesh and whatnot, but let me know what you think with a big, beefy, kind of henchy spine and the side conformal fuel tanks. I mean, it does look quite cool like that. I'm starting to come around to it. Which leaves us just with the weapons. So we can carry the same weapons as the F-16C. We get the addition of the Python-5 IR missile. This is a high foresight missile that can turn up to 180 degrees, claimed, and we'll show that off in a minute in a dogfight, which is more than, as far as I'm aware, any other missile, but at least other missiles like the AIM-9X, we don't think it can quite do that. We can carry up to 6 of them. And interestingly, they can fly this amazing flight path, but they don't even have thrust vectoring. They just use a very cunning array of flight surfaces. So let me get loaded up. You can see they're quite handsome looking missiles with double fins at the front, massive fins at the back. These missiles work fully in version 1 that's now released to you guys. In the future, we'll also have the Spice 2000 weapon added and the Rampage missile, as well as the release of the F-16D. So that just leaves us with firing the Python-5 missile against the AIM-9X, as in the Block 50. So Simba, you get AIM-9X, I'm going to do Pythons. Let's see which is the better missile. Master Arm is on, dogfight mode on, TMS forward, pick up the guy. Okay, I'm going to slave to him. Right, Python is ready. You get your AIM-9X ready, Simba. Right, I'm going to fire at what seems like an impossible shot. Over there. And fire. Oh, look at it bend! Look at it go! Look at it go! Chasing you, Simba! Yeah! Okay, that's completely OP and ridiculous. How the heck did it do that? Did you get an AIM-9X off?
I did, and it just kept going straight.
Wowza! Okay, obviously that needs replaying in slow motion, so out we go. Let's go and look at the replay. Here we are about to merge. Let's see what happens. Which one's going to fire? So we're pretty much merged. So that's an impossible shot. It's an impossible shot because no missile in the world can fuse in the amount of time that that aircraft will merge with us. So even if it hit him head on, the missile simply wouldn't work. So let's carry on. So I'm not saying it's probably, 100 feet. We'll have a look at attack view in a minute. So it goes past him and accepts it's gone past him, and then it just turns around. You're stupid. A full 180 degree turn. The AIM-9X was actually fired slightly later, but it doesn't matter because we all know it can't bend like that. Look at it. Oh, that was the end of it. It did actually go and hit him. I'm going to try and tack view. Firing at, wow, 1,500 feet. I felt like about 100 feet, but the closure rate is so high. You're at 500 knots, I'm at 400 knots. Off we go into slow motion. And it's not going to turn. Yes, it does. There it goes. Right. So it really does wait until you've passed. Look at the turn rate. 50 degrees per second. It's pulling 28 Gs. So it maxes out about 29 Gs. Turn rate 56 degrees per second. It's bending all the way around it. Look at that. How realistic that is. Absolutely no idea. 29G. 30G. 58, 59 degrees per second. Turn radius 900 feet. That is inescapable. Oh, blast, it stops there. For some reason, the track's not working, but as you all saw, it goes on and hits him after that. So it's a missile that can reach, it's going to straighten out after that point there, can reach about 60 degrees per second turn rate and 30 G. I mean, what an absolute weapon that is. It's pretty much inescapable. Out of interest, were you flaring at that point, Simba? Don't think we flared.
I did not pre-flare, but if you look at my airspeed and turn rate, I'm almost pegging the 16.
Roger. I mean, at this point, it's behind you and it's seeking you from the rear. I know the real Python-5 has a lock-on after launch capability, but to lose sensor track, execute a turn, and reacquire surely is dangerous for wingmen unless the IAF have some form of IFF it can use. I'm sure it doesn't have an IFF. So really interesting weapon, the Python-5, in that you can fire almost post-merge and it's just going to bend around and kill the guy, which, to be honest, seems a bit like cheating. I'm not sure what you can do to beat that, but very interesting. And an AIM-9X, it was fired late and was never going to work, but even that, still, we know it can't do that. It simply can't do that. So really interesting. So we will have to use that in some dogfights and see how this changes things. Anything you want to add, Simba?
It's a good working version 1 mod. I hope they have success at making a 2-seat version, because I know a lot of game players out there would love to try to fly tandem in an F-16 with their buddies.
I hope that was useful, and see you later.